Good morning from the cold, cold nights in West Texas. It's freezing out here. Oh, no, that's a lie. It's below freezing. Hey, this is Gerard, GGWT, Green in West Texas, my portion of it anyway. Well, where I am this morning, I'm in the shed because we got down to 21 last night. The good thing is the greenhouse performed like you wouldn't believe. The bigger greenhouse, even at 21, the green or mostly it was 23 throughout the night, but the greenhouse would not budge beneath 33. So I was pretty impressed with that. I'm expecting to see the citrus and avocado and jackfruit, and everybody's doing really well this morning. We shall see. But I had to back up propane heater just in case. But I'm in the shed this morning just to kind of share, and I'll share a little piece of information real quick. Lithium iron phosphate batteries, I stand behind 1,000%, because mostly they can have an infinite lifespan or a lifespan that will outlive you. It's the first time a battery that I know of is able to do that, assuming that you charge it correctly and discharge it correctly. So lithium iron phosphate, I stand behind. It's a sustainable battery. One thing to be concerned with, though, is that if you're building your battery packs, you always want to put on a temperature monitor, temperature shutoff on there. You get below freezing. You shouldn't charge the battery. It doesn't mean you're going to damage it, but you could damage it because of the chemical reaction that occurs. In an emergency, you still can use the battery. I believe you still can discharge it. Just the last test I saw, it discharged, so I think 80% of the charge. So that's a great thing. However, with the risk of damaging your battery, if you're not in, then the best option is to warm the battery. And so that's what I'm doing this morning. I'll show you what I'm doing. So overnight, and it's dark in here, so I'm not even sure how much you can see. This is just my coat, and I throw my coat over the batteries. And that's working out. You get down to freezing and just below. That does keep them just warm enough to where there is not a problem. But we never got down to 21 and stayed there for an hour. And so because it did that last night, I've got the propane heater in here. And all I'm doing, I'm basically just heating the coat up. I'm just warming it up, not trying to make it 80 degrees. I'm just getting to a point where it's obviously not freezing because the charge controllers are starting to charge, and so because they're starting to apply a charge, I want to make sure that it doesn't damage the batteries. So I think I've been in here about 5 minutes, just to heat up the battery, just to heat things up in the space. Within, I think, an hour and a half, it's going to be above freezing anyway. So I think this should be more than enough. Just heating up the bench, the blanket, and some of the interior space, and the sun being out, it's going to keep the batteries above freezing. So anyway, just a little tip there, lithium iron phosphate. You don't want to charge them below freezing. You don't want to charge any battery. I don't even think lead acid below freezing, but in tests, the lithium have stood up better in those type conditions. You can cheat by putting a battery warmer on there. And so those are just little heating pads that keep the battery just warm enough. I'm pretty sure with a heat blanket sealing the battery, you could probably throw one of those little brake heat pads for like glove warmers or whatever, and just a little bit is all you need if you got enclosed space. Long term, I'm not sure. The batteries probably will follow me as opposed to the warmest area or the area I charge the batteries. I use the batteries the most. And then they're going to be probably underground, just do like a little cooling and warming sink in the ground and just seal them up. So anyway, this is Gerard. You guys have a great day. I got to go make some coffee.